Now, this is Cambridge International Examinations, that is advanced subsidiary and advanced level. The paper is Economics Multiple Choices, Paper 1, Multiple Choice Paper 1. The code is 9708-12, which was taken February-March 2018. And we want to consider question 2. Now, a farmer is able to grow 3 crops, X, Y, and Z on his land. That is X, Y, and Z on his land. The farmer decides to grow at most 2 crops in any year. So these 3, the farmer can either grow X and Y, or grow X and Z, or grow Y and Z, or grow, any combination. In which case, the output, if he decides to grow X, if he decides to grow no X, then there'll be no output for X. There'll be no output for Y because he has not done any input for Y, so there's no output, but actually commits the land to Z, and that gives 40 output, 40 units in terms of output. And this scenario simply means that he engaged the 2 crops X and Y gave him 30, X gave him 40 in this row, or in this column. In this column. Now this column simply implies that X gave him an output of 40 and Z gave him an output of 20. Here Z gave 40, but because there was no input for Y and X, so that was 0, 0. So what is the opportunity cost of 1 unit of X? That's the question that we should consider. So the question considers the concept of opportunity cost. And we should note that in economics, there are 3 major concepts that make or define economics. 1 is we have scarcity. 2 is choice, which then necessitates opportunity cost. So let's see what our solution should look like. We are told that a farmer is able to grow 3 crops, X, Y, and Z, on his land. And the farmer decides to grow at most 2 crops in any year. The table shows 6 possible combinations of units of output of the 3 crops. So let's see. I have X, Y, and Z. Now those are the combinations. So X, we have 0, 0, 80, 40, 40, 0. Y, we have 0, 60, 0, 30, 0, 30, 0, 30. Then Z, we have 40, 0, 0, 40, 0, 0, 0, 20, 20, 20, 20. So what we have here is the table of outputs. This farmer is able to decide whether to plant X, Y, or Z, and in which case we see the outputs. So it can plant at most 2. So there are various combinations he has available. Either he can only plant 40 units. Actually, he can only utilize that particular piece of land to get 40 units of output by doing crop Z and 0, 0, and none of Y, none of X. Or can commit the land to producing Y, in which case he produces 0 of X and 0 of Z. Or can commit the land to producing X, in which case he produces 0 of Y and 0 of Z, and so on and so forth. So to calculate the opportunity cost of producing 1 unit of X, we need to look at different combinations of outputs in this case. And so let's consider the first case where when X is 0, I want to take the first combination, Y is 0 and Z is 40, and Z is 40. Because I'm interested in getting the opportunity cost of consuming good X. So in this case, the farmer decides to grow at most 2 crops in any year. The table below shows 6 possible combinations of units of output of 3 crops. So which of the statements is true? What is the opportunity cost of 1 unit of X? Yeah, that's the question, 1 unit of X. So when X is 0, why is this and that, why is that? So already I've put X to be 0. Now I want to pick another combination where X is now something. So I say when X is 80, Y is 0, Z is 0. Y is 0, Z is 0. That is the first instance. And in this particular instance, we see that by producing 80 units of X, it reduces the units of Z by 40. And so the opportunity cost per unit will then be 40 over 80, which is 0.5. So it means the opportunity cost of producing 1 unit of X is the opportunity okay, if I have now this 0.5, then we say that now in this case, producing 80 units of X means foregoing all 40 units of Z. Therefore, for this range, for that particular range, the opportunity cost of 80 units of X is 40 units of Z. So that's why to get the opportunity cost per unit of X, we divide 40 by 80 to get 0.5. But let's see what will happen in another scenario. So already that relates X and Z. So let's see how we relate X and Y. And how will that happen? We then say when X is 0, when X is 0, Y is 60, that's this case, and Z is 0. And Z is 0. And when X is 40, just try the combinations. When X is 40, Y will be 30, and Z will be 0. So we have picked a situation that allows us to relate X and Y strictly. So we see that when you are producing no unit of, when this farmer is producing no unit of X, okay, by producing 60, by actually obtaining output of 60 from that particular land, it means that he only committed Y, and committing Y means X didn't give an output and Z didn't give an output. But then, now the farmer decides to commit the land, part of it to produce X and part of it to produce Y. But by producing 40 output of X, Y now reduces to 30. It's reduced to 30. So in that case, the opportunity cost per unit per output will be 30 over 40. So we have the opportunity cost per unit of X is, the opportunity cost per unit of X will now be 30 over 40. 30 over 40, and that is about 0.75 units of Y. We say of Y. This was 0.5 units of Z. Units of Z. Yeah. Units of Z. So that's that. So what do we say? We say that the opportunity cost of 1 unit of X. So these particular scenarios are they all apply because we are asked. Just a moment. We are asked to get the opportunity cost of 1 unit of X. So it is 0.5 units of Z or 0.75 units of Y. And that is our answer. And so how do we interpret that? So it means that the opportunity cost of 1 unit of X is 0.75 units of Y. That is when comparing the second and fourth rows. The second and fourth row. Yes. So that is the end of our question. And so you need to choose. You need to make a choice that corresponds to either this or that from your choices. See you in my next video.